practice doesn't require retiring from the world to the mountain cave, or actually, contrary, this is the practice for modern practitioner to engaging in this world. Then at the same time, we can beyond the world, so to speak. The ideal for this degenerated age. That is a kind of claim. So I want you to experience yourself to see that is your experience or not.
Welcome, Kanjala, and thank you so much for taking the time to join this interview. Today, I was hoping to ask you a few questions to help me understand some of the intentions and plans that Dakini Whisper has, and maybe get a better understanding of what it means to be a practitioner. So my first question was about empowerment. And you've been giving empowerments and initiations in the past, and every time that there's been an empowerment that I've been to, and I've heard many people say about how good it's feeling, how beneficial it's been. And personally, I have found that empowerments have sunk in really deep into my core and changed something within me. And I was wondering, maybe you can put it into words. Could you tell me about the meaning of receiving empowerment?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. And empowerment generally refers to conferring power or authorization to practice the Vajrayana. And it is indispensable entrance door to tantric practice, as you may know. During the empowerment, the Lama formally introduces a deity and the environment called mandala of the deities. One of the main functions of empowerment is to ripen the seed of enlightenment within us. Of course, this seed is already present in us, but it is completely obscured right now within our ordinary body, speech, and mind. So empowerment gives mastery over one's innate awakening, or Vajra, that's a technical term, Vajra, body, speech, and mind, and authority to regard all the forms as deity, sound as mantras, and the thought, whatever arises in our mind, even that is a negative thinking mind, as wisdom. Yeah, so empowerment initiates us. So this process of letting the potential to awaken manifest. Having said that, whether we actually receive the empowerment, which has a power that the potential seeds to manifest or not, largely dependent on some conditions, such as a readiness or karmic momentum of the recipients, authenticity of the lineage, the person or Vajra master who carry the uninterrupted blessing of the lineage, the meditative concentration during the ritual, and so forth. So there is no such a thing as self-existing entity called empowerment that is automatically given to us. I wish we had. You know what I mean? Therefore, even if you have take part in the empowerment ritual, you may not necessarily receive the empowerment that possesses the power to transform your mind. Let me give you the example, maybe that metaphor might be helpful. So this is a metaphor of a flower seed planted in the garden. If the flower bed is cleared and prepared well by removing pebbles and weeds and adding some nice soil and fertilizers, then once that right seed is planted, you can nurture it by watering and taking care of it together with the right conditions, such as the sunlight, then it will sprout automatically. Similarly, when we prepare ourselves through the foundation practice, the teachings, learning, meditating, those practices, preliminary practices, Then the seed of potentiality is planted in our mind through empowerment. We are ready to embark on the journey of nurturing the seed, of actualizing certain deities. Eventually, the seed will grow into shoot and blossom into beautiful flower of enlightenment that spread the sweet fragrance. Something like that.
Mm. That's a beautiful metaphor. It's really wonderful. I imagine that the act of planting the seed is what helps people really feel good about it. That the seed itself is such a positive seed and immediately begins to branch out into some sort of goodness, whether it's a big moment of realization or just a small feeling of this is what is the right path. I imagine that's why it feels good, and maybe you can confirm.
Yeah. So point is, I would say that it's important to prepare ourselves well with, if possible, with bodhicitta altruistic intentions. So when you are in the presence of that sort of circumstances, or the Vajra master developed we call the three confidence. Three kind of confidence or convictions you may have heard about. Lama Tsongkhapa talks about. First of all, confidence or conviction in authenticity, the authentic stream of lineage or teaching or practice. Then number one. Number two is the conviction in the person who holds that lineage or that carry that teachings and share with you. And thirdly, and most importantly, the conviction or confidence in the capacity in yourself. Then the fully present and follow the meditation instructions of your Lama during the empowerment. Then you will definitely have a meaningful experience of receiving empowerment that lead us to whatever extent of experience and realization, actualizing the Idan eventually. In other words, karmic cause and effect is infallible.
Yes. Well, thank you for those wonderful instructions. I'll be sure to carry that on to my next empowerment. And speaking of the next empowerment, we do have an upcoming Vajrayogini empowerment in September 2023. And I know that there are students who are already preparing themselves for this event. And I will learn to prepare what you've just suggested. But I was wondering if you could tell me more about the practices of Vajrayogini that would help benefit today's practitioners.
So this empowerment will be a gateway for you to embark on a profound path of Vajrayogini practice, just as I mentioned before. It is an ancient practice, and yet is utterly applicable to modern day practitioners like us. You may have heard about this Idan's name, Vajrayoginis, but in the ancient time, even the word Vajrayogini was not uttered by the practitioner. It's such a holy, secret, and discreet Idan deities. Anyways, this practice of Vajrayogini and its boundless benefit will unfold as you practice this Idan. But just let me say a few words about this. Although its benefits are limitless, like the never exhausting overflowing of nectar, the teaching tradition condenses them into and list up the 10 benefits and so 10 or so. So to list a few of its numerous unique benefit, Vajrayogini sadhana practice is complete and encompasses the entirety of the Buddha's teaching, sutra and tantra. Number one. Then it's not as complicated or long as most of other highest yoga tantric sadhanas. And it is relatively easy to practice. Then it is efficient, swift, and lays out an easy to follow path to attain realization due to the profundity of its unique practice, such as inner yoga and body mandala or something like that. You will experience, you will know what that means. So with its authentic lineage and teaching, it is particularly effective and perfect for committed tantric practitioners in modern contemporary world. Practice doesn't require retiring from the world to the mountain cave, or actually, contrary, this is a practice for modern practitioners engaging in this world. Then at the same time, we can beyond the world, so to speak. The ideal for this degenerated age. That is a kind of claim. So I want you to experience yourself to see that is your experience or not. So let me say, in terms of how we receive empowerment, Vajrayogini empowerment, Dakini's Whisper has decided to offer this authentic empowerment to both those who aspire to dive deeply into this practice, like that was done traditionally, as well as to those who just wish to make a connection to Vajrayogini, because this is such a rare opportunity. We don't want to miss it, in a sense. A participant can receive her rare blessings, whether or not their current situation will allow them to follow the traditional commitment. In either case, if you are inspired, please join me on this journey for this empowerment.
Yeah, personally, I think that sounds really, really exciting. I mean, with all the benefits you've just listed, and then and knowing the past experience of having empowerment, I'm on board. I'm sold. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the empowerment myself. Those are all wonderful things to look forward to. And beyond the empowerment, you have listed out a 16-month program. I believe it's called the Dakini Path. I was wondering, what is this Dakini Path, and how does it relate to the empowerment? Why did you structure it in a way that there's the empowerment followed by 16-month course? What is that about?
Yeah, as I said, we don't take empowerment or receive empowerment for the sake of empowerment. Like, the only reason we receive empowerment or ask for the seed to be planted is to nurture the seed. So we want to continue nurturing, so exploring this profound path once we receive the empowerment. So this Dakini path, a contemporary pilgrimage to Dakini, that's kind of subtitle I gave. So that is an online course where we will explore this Vajrayogini path together in a semi-structured way. I assume by treading this worthwhile path, your precious human life will become meaningful and hopefully complete. I envision the Dakini path as an awakening journey with a contemporary approach. There are many traditional approaches to Vajrayogini practice. Actually, we went through the 11 yoga, so-called Naropa Kacho Vajrayogini practice. So that is traditionally presented. Now, I don't know, one step further or go deeper. I would like to explore the Dakini path as a really in a contemporary approach and awakening journey. You approach to the ancient wisdom path whose efficacy has been proven by ancient masters. So again, if we use the metaphor of the seed and the flower, just planting a seed through empowerment is not enough. Like, we need to take care of the seed and further cultivate it through our practices. And finally, we receive the abundant harvest of crops, of experiences and realization, and the magnificent flowering of awakening. Dakini's whisper presents the entire path, you can say, from beginning to the end. That's my intention as well. Not to just give the empowerment and then For me, it doesn't mean much. Mm.
Right. It really does seem like the whole package when you plant the seed and then have this 16-month course to help nurture the seed and help it flower. And for a new practitioner, I was wondering if you could let me know, or maybe you can't. That's fine. What kind of things to expect within the 16-month course? Like, what are some of the practices that are going to be done?
Okay, so 16 months is based on the framed by um, the this Dakini journey. I don't know how you have seen this book or not. Recently, I published. So this has a structure, view, meditation, and conduct that are traditionally presented, the Mahamudra tradition, and so forth. Based on that, each month we follow each chapter, the framework. For example, I start with the view, right? So what is Vajrayogini? In this case, what is Dakini? And what are the expression of Dakinis? What are the expression of Vajrayogini? And so forth. So we're gonna explore Vajrayogini practice and teaching through the lens of Dakini journey. It might be challenging, but it's gonna be quite fun and relevant. We love exploration. We don't take it for granted, whatever presented by tradition. We want to examine, right? The Buddha taught that we need to do the three things. Then we cultivate the three wisdom. First, we study. So wisdom coming from studying or reading and listening, teaching. That's number one. Then we examine, right? Wisdom coming from examination, analyzing, discussing, having a dialogue. That is number two. Then finally, we meditate on what we examined, what we are talking about. So that is a meditation. Thirdly, so wisdom coming from meditation. That leads to realizations. So those three things we want to do through this 60-month, perhaps enticing or challenging, maybe, most likely, because nobody giving you the answer. You are the one who really experience and kind of embody this practice. That's my intention. Myself, I want to go through this journey again and again.
That is really exciting to hear. All the good things that you've said about this 16-month course and the empowerment, and what you said about finding the answer yourself. I think that spoke a lot to me, because if someone hands you the answer, it's so much different from finding it yourself within your own experiences and awakening to that. And all I have to say is thank you. What you've said in this interview has really helped me understand what to look forward to in this empowerment and how to prepare myself and prepare my mind. And I'm really looking forward to both the empowerment and Dakini Path.
Me too. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. And it's really early for you, I think. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much. See you
Thank
soon.
you. Yeah, see
Bye.
you next time. Bye bye.